My views on being out is that every person should be able to decide whether they want to be out. A lot of people aren't comfortable being out. There's a lot of things that stop them, or they just don't feel comfortable enough with the people that they talk to, or maybe with their family. But for me personally, I think it's really important to be out. And my friends and some of my family members, I've come out to, but I'm not out to my parents yet. So for me, that would be like I'm hiding a big part of myself. If they don't know my sexual orientation, then they don't know a big part of my life. Your relationships, that's the person you're going to be with is a person your family has to meet. So if they don't know, or if, let's just say, my parents don't know that I do like women, then they don't know a big part of my personality. Well, for myself, I don't have any hardships with my identity, but I do feel like a lot of people wouldn't really understand, exactly what I identify myself with, or anything or most of the things that come along with the LGBT community. So maybe for other people, it might be a little, it could be misconstrued, but for myself, there's not. The way I dress does not, interfere with the way people interact with me. I dress pretty girly, so a lot of people don't really necessarily take that as in, oh, you're going to be a lesbian or bisexual. But when they do find out about my identity, sometimes people do tend to ask or not really believe it because of the way that I look or because of the way that I dress. But usually, well, for myself, I'm very comfortable with the way I dress. I dress girly, and if I'm going to have a girlfriend and I'm dressed like this, I'm fine. I don't need anybody to tell me that the way I dress identifies my orientation. Well, my orientation does affect a lot of my relationships, with friendships. Coming into college and starting a dorm, I was worried about whether my roommate would take that as something negative. A lot of the times, there's a lot of women who, if they do find out their friend, or especially their roommate, if they're of another sexual orientation, they start to worry. They start to wonder whether they're going to be checking you out, whether they're going to be looking at you, whether they're going to try to hit on you. And that for me was something big. It was something that I was really thinking about. With my friends, it's something that I usually tell them off the bat, and if I don't, they will find out eventually. At work, I do worry about it, especially right now. Where I'm working at, my boss is she's old school Mexican. So for her, maybe to find out that I do like women, or even that I have tattoos, she'll see that as something negative, and I feel like maybe she won't look at me the same. But with any other relationships, or especially with my family, it's something that's a little bit more sensitive. I feel like if I do tell them, they are going to take it negative. And usually it's with all those people who aren't really within this new generation, because this new generation is more open as opposed to other ones who are very closed-minded.
Being out is really important because I think it's important to be, honest about who you are. However, I do know that there are certain situations for certain people where that may not always be possible. But I really do believe that it's important to kind of be who you are no matter where you are. I do consider myself being out because my mom knows, and, her side of the family, which is the side I'm closest to, knows. My friends know, school, work, so, the people who don't know, it's more because I choose to keep my life private, not because I'm ashamed about my sexuality, because I think that I am very unapologetic about who I am, and I think it's important to be that way because, everyone's born who they are, and they should be honest about that. I identify as a lesbian, particularly a femme lesbian, and I, for the most part, don't face too many hardships, at least not as much as other people. There are, aspects, especially due to, my religion, and sometimes, just being out on the street, you get those strange looks from some people who aren't as tolerant. But for the most part, I'm blessed with a very supportive community, and I haven't really faced too much, but I do tend to notice that I get more discrimination more for being a feminine lesbian, because a lot of times they see the way I dress and they see that I am so feminine and embrace my femininity so much that they kind of take that as, oh, you're not a real lesbian, or like you're not butch enough, or like you don't look gay, so how can you be gay? Or they think, oh, it's just a phase or something because of the way I look. As far as me being a feminine lesbian affects the way I dress, because I am always, makeup, relatively long hair, skirts, dresses, I refuse to wear pants, things like that. So I really do take my feminine side to a hardcore level. But, it's not necessarily, I don't feel like, oh, I have to dress like a lesbian or anything. I just dress feminine. So more the feminine aspect of of me being a lesbian affects the way I dress. And as far as like day-to-day life, like I said, kind of with my community, they're all very supportive. So I don't really get any hardships when it comes to that. So I guess it doesn't really affect me too much. But, I am very vocal about being a lesbian. So, for the most part, it's positive, I guess, because everyone does show a lot of support for me. Well, I've always been very comfortable about my sexuality. And I think because I was always so comfortable and confident, I guess, I don't know if that made other people more comfortable with it. I have a really great set of friends and family, so they never really gave me a hard time. Just occasional questions, but nothing too harsh or anything. But I haven't really had to deal with anything, that has affected me in a wrong way. Like, I never get discriminated at work or at school. So pretty much, for the most part, everyone, I think, treated me the same after I told them. It was more just like, oh, what, really? But nothing, no one like disowned me or anything, and I got very embraced by everyone around me.